to domesticate the directive. It's been considered by some institutions. Timothy Yusuf was at the University of Abuja for a situation report.
Academic activities were still going on without hindrances at the time of visit to the permanent site of the university. This is not to say that ASU's directive was not adhered to, as the institution's chapter of the union has already scheduled a congress for Wednesday, 16th August 2017. Dr. Ben Uheoke is the congregation representative of the University of Abuja.
It's not a question of if, it's not a question of whether. It's a directive, and we must comply. And we will comply tomorrow after the Congress.
The students declined speaking to our crew, but Mr. Uheoke said the management will take necessary decision concerning them.
We are not management or administration of each university. Whatever the administrations choose, that is their own. But for us, we have a union, and we are acting in accordance to the directive of the neck of our union.
He, however, hopes that the impasse will be quickly resolved. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Executive officers of agencies under the Ministry of Science and Technology have been charged to be effective channels through which the philosophy and strategies of the ministry can be disseminated and implemented. This was at a forum chaired by the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, to acquaint the chief executives with plans to deepen science, technology and innovation in the nation's development process. Science correspondent Kiran Umayo reports.
The chief executives are expected to adopt the visionary and creative strategies that will enable Nigeria move from resource to knowledge-based economy. Dr. Onu told the officers that the Federal Executive Council approved a new and revolutionary policy guidelines for the design and execution of programs, projects and contracts with science, engineering and technology components.
This will help our dear country, Nigeria, promote national self-reliance by promoting a radical shift in emphasis toward entrenching science, technology, and innovation as an invaluable component of virtually all strata of our national development process.
He affirmed that the current administration is determined to ensure that science and technology play a vital role in its efforts to diversify the nation's economy, adding that the recent conceptualization of strategy for competitiveness in raw materials and product development is aimed at addressing the challenge of developing policies that can stimulate economic diversification and industrialization in an irreversible manner. Kiran Umayo, NTA News.
The Niger State government has signed a memorandum of understanding with some sectors to develop agriculture and power sectors. This was at the second day of the Niger State Investment Summit 2017. Stakeholders and investors interface on areas of interest, while agreement was reached between Angote Group of Companies with the state, which is to invest 450 million naira in agriculture, specifically in rice and sugar production. Other investors are Tony Elumelu, Mainstream Energy Solutions, and North-South Power Company Limited.
We have 42,948.315 hectares of land. We are going to develop an agricultural city which has a complete value chain. The agri-city is going to be of world state-of-art facility, self-independent on power. It's going to have all the types of animal husbandry that are going to be producing and sellable in the world market.
Niger State government received special recognition and award for its drive in youth empowerment and agricultural development. Renewed attention by the federal government in the power sector is helping it boost electricity generation, hitting all-time record of more than 6,000 megawatts. At a stakeholders meeting in Kano, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, said government is looking at the possibility of helping distribution companies claim more of the generated power to deliver to the people. Usman Aliu reports.
The commissioning of this injection substation at Dakata is to improve stability and quality of electricity to the community, their commercial activities and at homes. These events are prelude to the monthly power sector meeting in Kumbozo Transmission Station, powering Kano, Katsina and Jigawa states. Though there is remarkable success in the power generation in Nigeria with a current record of 6,863 megawatt and transmission capacity of 6,700 megawatt, new challenges emerge. The inability of the distribution companies to buy more and sell.
Before, the story was that the discos were not getting enough power. The story has changed. There's now more power than the discos can sell. That is progress, but it creates a new problem. How do we ensure that everybody is working together? Gencos have increased, transmission has increased, so we must help the discos.
Steps taken, the progress making and the new challenges emerging have emboldened the power sector recovery program on its expansion of transmission capacity. The recent mini-grid regulation is a package of hope and aspirations.
Those grid regulations now will regulate people who are not served by discos at all or who are poorly served because their equipment is not working, to get access to power if they are generating anything from 100 kilowatts to 1 megawatt.
Another issue to address is the lingering power theft, which stakeholders believe must be tackled.
If you do meter bypass, it's stealing. If you don't pay for your electricity that you are supposed to, it's stealing.
There is hope that the improvement on increased electricity availability in Nigeria will be maintained. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has cautioned heads of ministries, departments and agencies against the approval of cash advances above the stipulated amount provided by the financial regulations and guidelines. This followed a query raised by the Auditor General of the Federation against the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority for violation of financial regulations. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
In the query raised against the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, the Auditor General questioned the ministry over alleged irregularity in the purchase and distribution of 63 ambulances and 576,400 naira paid to a staff for an official visit to Calabar that did not take place.
Out of the 4 officers slated for the fact-finding visit, 3 have denied knowledge of any visit to Calabar despite the air ticket bearing their names.
And I believe the money was refunded. I think it was in our earlier submission, sir.
Considering the date that this is an event that took place in 2010, we will not cause a further criminal trial on this matter. We will caution public office holders to endeavor to live above board.
The second query of the day was against the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority for spending over 5 million naira cash against the threshold of the financial regulations guidelines.
The apparent violation of the financial regulations stipulated limit of cash advances occurred because of the urgency involved in carrying out the assignment at the time.
Between February 2017 to now is 6 months. How much have you paid monthly for fueling?
A precise figure, but I can give an estimate of about 10 million.
10 million per month?
Yes.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Youth Parliament has called on state assemblies to pass the Not Too Young to Run bill already passed by the National Assembly. Briefing National Assembly correspondents, Speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament, Ayodele John, commended the National Assembly for passing the bill.
Similarly, the Parliament resolved to remind the leadership of the National Assembly of our avowed commitments and assurances on the full integration of the Parliament in the National Assembly.
The Youth Parliament also condemned utterances by some sections of the country to undermine the nation's unity. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says the People's Democratic Party-led administration left behind a battered economy enmeshed in corruption and waste. Marlon Garba Shehu said this in reaction to former President Jonathan's comment on the economy during Saturday's PDP National Non-Elective Convention in Abuja. Gabriel Odu reports.
Oil sector under the last administration was at its peak, with prices as high as $120 per barrel, and the Niger Delta was peaceful, the presidential aide said. At the inception of the current administration, Malam Garba Shehu says 21 states could not pay workers' salaries, compounding the situation with reckless borrowing and heavy debt profile. Malam Shehu said, putting the record straight, the present administration is doing what the PDP could not do by fighting corruption, sanitizing the huge salary bill by eliminating payroll fraud, reducing wasteful expenses like first-class travel and private jets, increasing spending on capital projects, and focusing on key sectors that create jobs, generating revenue in agriculture, solid minerals, and manufacturing. In Abuja, Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Lagos State Government to boost foreign investment. Demola has details of that story and other reports from Lagos. It's over to you, Demola.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Lagos. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has expressed his administration's readiness to make both foreign and local businesses flourish in the state. Nosa Osula reports that the governor also assured investors of promoting business-friendly policies.
He stated that the state government was making progress in creating an enabling environment through policies, initiatives, institutional re-energizing, as well as infrastructural renewal and development. He added that his administration is ready to support both foreign and local businesses where necessary towards ensuring that investments remain prosperous.
They must own the government because the resources that comes to the government are so limited that the only functional template is to allow the private sector to drive the economy. The only thing that government should do is to just be an enabler or create an enabling environment to allow the economy to run.
In line with plans to make Lagos a smart city, Ambode stated that the state government is deploying sophisticated technology to achieve the goal.
There are new influx of bus terminals, laybars, bus stops, and the introduction of new bus system. In the last 1 year, we decided also to say, we must integrate railroad, water, air together in such a way that this system of connectivity is improved upon.
The governor used the occasion to call on the organized private sector to continue to partner with the state government, stressing that his administration remains committed to finding solutions to challenges confronting the business sector. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Reviving Nigeria's cultural ideals, values and standards will contribute significantly to the present administration's ambition to fight corruption. This was the view of a retired naval commander and culture enthusiast at a symposium on cultural revolution in social economic imperatives 2007 Nigeria. Annie Daniels has the details.
The commandant of the Nigerian Security Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Tajuddin Balogun, the two suspects, Yemi Aino and Mayowa Adedoyin, were caught vandalizing a distribution cable that supplies electricity on Friday in Oshodi. Officials of NSCDC on routine patrol stepped into the crime scene and arrested the suspects.
It's a very unique one that they call 3-core cable, and it has extensive usage. That just cutting this one now, so many areas will be in perpetual darkness. And they must have been doing it for quite a long time. They were arrested at a very, very ungodly hour, about 04 00 hours, when they assume that most security operatives will be sleeping.
One of the suspects, a 32-year-old, claims he is innocent, even though he admitted he was promised the sum of 15,000 naira to ensure the success of the operation. While the other suspect, a 22-year-old bus conductor, revealed that a man named $1, who he followed to the crime scene, promised to settle him after the operation.
I am innocent. I don't know how they came about cutting cables. I am just a bus conductor. I was told to watch the road during the operation.
The NSCDC commandant emphasized that investigations are still ongoing as other accomplices in the crime will be prosecuted. In Lagos, Imoleayo Tokidi, NTA News.
We sincerely apologize for that. That actually is a story on the arrest of two suspects by the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. And the reporter is Imoleayo Tokede. Now, we now go back to our earlier story on the reviving cultural ideals, values, and standards, which they say will contribute significantly to the present administration's ambition to fight corruption. This was the view of a retired naval commander and culture enthusiast at a symposium on cultural revolution in social economic imperative 2017 Nigeria. Annie Daniels has the details.
The author, Monday Omo, disclosed that in the past, Nigeria depended mostly on agriculture for local and foreign revenues. Unfortunately, he noted, citizens drifted towards other productive sectors, considered to be more lucrative and less stressful. He said this deviation also reflected in the country's cultural beliefs, which he pointed out is being eroded as the trend continues.
Encourage everybody in the society, the leaders and the led, to know the two steps that must be taken to get us out of a vicious circle. And that vicious circle is a critical vicious circle in that if you go the right direction, Nigeria by 2020 should be moving out of the vicious circle onto the path of progress.
He further buttressed his submission in the two books titled Unchained Nigeria for Sustainable Growth and the Handbook of Say You Do Memorandum, the 653 and 64-page books respectively cover pre-colonial Nigeria, Nigeria's problems, the economic considerations, as well as the roles of the future governments in reviving Nigeria.
It seeks to explain how the people can ask certain basic questions. If you want to be my leader in the village or in the commune, there are certain things, certain expectations of the people. What can you do for me? Can you do this? Can you do that?
The two publications were formally unveiled at the event in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Well, that does it from Lagos. It's back to you, Elizabeth, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Demola. Now, in curbing security challenges on the nation's waterways, the Nigerian Navy says it will upgrade capacity of staff and equipment at its engineering college, Sapele, Delta State. Flag Officer Commanding Naval Training Command, Rear Admiral Obi Ofodile, stated this during the graduation of the outboard engine maintenance course. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
This is a familiarization tour of key institutions under the Naval Training Command by the new Flag Officer Commanding FOC. Taking the FOC around facilities at the college, the Commandant Commodore Magnus Dironyema highlighted some challenges faced by the college, to include insufficient equipment and staff. While addressing officers and ratings of the college, Rear Admiral Ofodile charged them to be dedicated to duties with a promise that their plight will be forwarded to the naval headquarters.
The Nigerian Navy holds this college in high esteem. The facilities have to be upgraded, and those ones that are not here have to be provided. Same with teaching aids. Basically, these are the things we need to have the best products come out of this college.
The FOC also presided over the graduation of outboard engine maintenance course qualification levels 1 to 3. Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
A rigid government structure to protect the weak and vulnerable will go a long way in Nigeria. This suggestion and others were expressed by guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria program this Tuesday. Victor Azu reports.
The program continued Tuesday with the issue of national unity and stability against the background of ultimatum and agitations in parts of the country, with guests attributing the uprising to a plethora of issues.
We prefer to consider ourselves first instead of the nation, and you can see that all along, even when we talk about federal character, for example, once it gets to the state level, it just stops at that. It doesn't permeate to the local and ward levels and probably the different ethnicities that exist there.
Our legislators missed it out by not passing the affirmative action. Even from creation of man, God proved to us that we cannot do without each other, and that the woman has the right to contribute to the development of this nation. It's like the women demographic issue is not understood and is not appreciated at all.
They also suggested the implementation of recommendations from previous national conferences or fresh dialogues to determine the problems of constituent parts of the country as a way of fostering national unity and integration.
We need strong institutions that are collective, that are Nigerian in nature. We also need a national identity, something that is more fundamental than, you know, I am an Igbo, I'm a Yoruba, and, you know, Hausa, Fulani. Who are we? So if you ask a Nigerian who they are, it should be much more uniting than something that is sectional or tribal.
For Nigerians to be more patriotic to country, the systems of governance must change. Government must begin to focus its policy to providing for the common citizens. Laws and policy must be to protect the common citizens. What we have now is that the laws protect the rich.
The guests expressed optimism that if these suggestions are looked into, the country will be better for it. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has been commended for its citizen-centered service delivery. National Coordinator Service Compact, Servicom, gave the commendation when she paid a working visit on the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, at its corporate headquarters in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
Since the Servicom unit of the NTA was commissioned in 2007, the unit has been complementing the functions of the establishment as a service provider. National Coordinator Servicom Nnenna Akajameli and her team were in NTA to solicit the support of the management.
NTA service charter in line.
In her presentation, Mrs. Akajameli advocated the review of NTA's service charter and reward system for outstanding staff. Executive Director Admin and Training Steve Egbo, who represented the Director General Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, said NTA will continue to live up to its responsibility in disseminating reliable information to the people.
The actual scores of NTA from the point of view of the customers, of the service takers, they are doing a good job. The feedback we have from the street, we want to sustain healthy competition among staff, even within NTA.
The citizens are like customers. They have invested in this government and they have a right to reap the reward of that investment. So the government is working hard to provide the services, and we at NTA are protecting the very important and vital aspects of nationhood.
Both parties agreed on stronger collaboration on service delivery to Nigerians. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Nationwide. Academic activities on halt as University of Jos joins ASU's indefinite industrial action. Ruth brings us details of this and more. It's over to you, Ruth.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome to Jos. The University of Jos chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, will tomorrow commence the indefinite strike declared by its national body. ASU University of Jos chapter today held a council meeting where the decision was reached. Ruth Stephen Hoke has details.
ASU Chairman University of Jos chapter Dr. Chris Piwuna said the strike is an indefinite one. Dr. Piwuna said the university will join the strike tomorrow at 12 midnight in compliance with the directives from its national body.
We are going on strike because of demands that federal government has refused to meet, agreements that they have refused to adhere to. That's why we are on strike.
He added that the industrial action became necessary owing to the federal government's failure to meet up its demands. He explained that there has been a series of warning strikes following the non-implementation of a substantial part of the 2009 federal government ASU agreement on condition of service, funding, university autonomy, and academic freedom. He noted that although the educational system is in a mess, it is their constitutional responsibility to remedy the situation. Some of the students expressed sadness that the strike will affect their studies.
Papers in a day because they want to catch up with the ASU that is already striking, and psychologically it is doing a great harm to students. So I want to plead with the ASU and the federal government to resolve whatever they have, because we the students are at the receiving end of all this drama.
As at the time of filing in this report, students of the institutions were writing their examinations. In Jos, Ruth Stephen Hockey, NTA News.
The Plateau State Internal Revenue Service has officially launched the Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme, VADES. Flagging off the scheme, Commissioner for Finance, Mrs. Tamwakat Weli, said the scheme will afford taxpayers the opportunity to voluntarily disclose undisclosed assets. Kim Gotts reports.
The scheme, which covers all federal and state taxes, was launched in June by the acting president, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. VADES is expected to last 9 months without extension. Commissioner for Finance, Temoket Willie, in company of her counterpart from the Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Dave Garga, and Chairman Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, embarked on a sensitization work on Amadou Bello Way, the Business Now Center of Jos, and other major streets. Commissioner for Finance, Mrs. Willie, pointed out that the scheme targets persons who underpay taxes, unregistered taxpayers, and those ready to settle tax disputes out of court.
The key condition of the scheme is that a full and honest declaration must be made.
Chairman Plateau State Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Dashi Adlat, said the scheme will boost internal revenue generation of the state.
We are trying to harmonize all our tax position as a country this time around.
The Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme will end on the 31st of March 2018. In Jos, Kim Gotts, NTA News.
48 women suffering from viscovaginal fistula, VVF, have undergone free surgeries in Lantan North Local Government Area of Plateau State. The gesture is courtesy Jos University Teaching Hospital's Comprehensive Health Center, ZAMCO, in collaboration with Safe Motherhood Partners, United States of America. Again, Kim Gotts has more.
Vesicovaginal fistula, VVF, is a health condition that can be experienced by some women after childbirth or caused by an injury during surgery. Whatever the case may be, fistula needs to be closed by a surgeon to restore normal function. It is in this light that Jude Comprehensive Health Center, ZAMCO, in collaboration with Safe Motherhood Partner, United States, carried out 2 weeks free medical surgery on women battling with the health condition in Lantan North Local Government Area.
Jude, in her own
small way, tell that we should support self-motherhood partners so that they can render help to these people.
For me, it is a challenge, and it is a great blessing to participate here in a setting which is very different from the setting which I work in the United States.
Some of the patients expressed gratitude to Jude and Safe Motherhood Partner, United States, for the gesture.
I thank God that I'm a beneficiary, and it is my earnest prayer that may the Lord Almighty in His infinite mercy see those that are left behind.
Jude help me and do my surgery for free. I never pay 1 naira.
They, however, appeal to individuals, organizations, and the government to come to their aid, as out of the 98 booked cases, only 48 have been treated. From Langton North Local Government Area, Kim Gotts, NTA News.
National President, Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union, RATAU, Kabiru Garbasani, says Nigeria's future is bright in the quest for cultural revival. RATAU's president was speaking at an award night marking the end of the union's festival, Ratafest, held in Jos. Nenrot Nina Dinget has more.
The national president, RATAU, Mr. Kabir Garbasani, applauded all who contributed in the growth and development of the union, especially the culture and media sectors, who have fostered the spirit of friendship and unity which the event has rekindled.
We cherish and appreciate your dedication and love for the union, which account for why you are here personally to identify with us and bring your esteemed presence as well to this event.
Chairman of the occasion, Mr. Jerry Nimfa Zwalbong, said this year's theme, Cultural Uprightness and Unbiased Media Practice, Antidote for Corruption, Moral Decadence, Political and Social Upheavals, is apt as it seeks to nip in the bud issues eating deep into the well-being of the union, thereby giving all and sundry a sense of belonging.
Today we look at culture in terms of our worship, in terms of the food we take in terms of the clothing that we wear in our body.
At the event, individuals and heads of parastatals who contributed their quota at ensuring the stability and progress of the union were recognized.
When you are being encouraged, you know, people are watching you, and we're being called upon to be encouraged in this manner. It encourages you to give in your best.
Today I'm receiving an excellent award of representation. I think it is in line with my campaign slogan, so I want to appreciate them.
Prominent among guests present were the Director General of Nigerian Television Authority, represented by the Zonal Director, NTA Network Center Jos, Nuruddin Adeshina Idris. The Zonal Director of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Sylvanus Nanmang, as well as the Registrar of the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, Garba Bello Kankarouf. Then came the climax of the event, with contingents waiting patiently to hear the outcome of their fate from the judges on the 2017 Ratafest. Kwara State emerging third position overall best. Niger State came second position, and Plateau State came first position overall best, emphasizing their place as overall best for the fourth time since the inception of the festival in 2008. Decoration of the patron, Ratau, North Central Zone, Garba Bello Kankarofi, who was decorated alongside the Miss Ratafest 2017, said such festivals should be encouraged to enhance unity and brotherliness, as he promised to work diligently with Ratau as a union. In Jos, narrates Nina Dinget, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Jos. It's back to you, Elizabeth, for the rest of the news nationwide.
Thank you, Ruth. And it's time for Harvest for the Osun State Government Students on Scholarship Complete program. We'll bring you this and more in just a moment. Stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Medicinal plant development in Nigeria, how viable for affordable health care. That is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. NTA Tuesday Live, incisive, educative and informative. Join us.
National Council for Arts and Culture, Abuja presents 10th African Arts Crafts Expo, AFAC Expo 2017, the biggest arts and crafts expo in Africa. Theme, Nigerian Crafts, the untapped treasure. Date, 27th August to 17th September 2017. Venue, Arts and Crafts Village, beside Sheraton Hotel and Yaradua Center, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. AFAC presents a unique platform for artists, crafts dealers, manufacturers and other stakeholders to buy, sell, and promote products from Nigeria and other African countries. For more information, please call Chinwe on 0803-321-7724, Gerald on 0802-3345-301. National Council for Arts and Culture, our culture, our pride. Otumba Olusegun Wonshewe, Director General, Announcement.
Marriage is a union between a spouse and the spouse of the spouse and the family of the spouse.
You're not only married to your husband, but to his brothers and sisters.
Oh yes, but only where that is sensibly convenient. Don't get it twisted. Marriage is as sweet as you make your home for your partner. He or she is not your slave or a workhorse, there to serve your brothers, sisters, and relatives to her own detriment or his own detriment.
It is foolery of you to have allowed your family members cause catastrophic quagmire of epic proportions in your marriage.
So says Professor John Bull, your rib-cracking comedy in this episode titled Married to Family.
They want to take advantage of my phenomena.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped, we are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime, we bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism, and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
With heavy hearts and gratitude to God for a life well spent, we announce the passing of our father and grandfather, Chief David Atta, on 4th of July 2017. Until his death, Chief David Atta was a staunch Methodist, veteran journalist, and elder statesman. He served as the chief press secretary to former heads of state, a state commissioner, and also a member of the Federal House of Representatives during the Second Republic. One-time member of the board of directors of the Nigerian Television Authority, he is remembered as an exemplary philanthropist by his people. Funeral arrangements are as follows. Thursday, 17th August 2017. Body departs the University of Jos Teaching Hospital for his residence, B60, David Atta Street, Hodco Quarters, North Bank, Makurdi, Benue State, for the first wake keep. Friday, 18th August, body departs his residence in Makurdi to his family home in Igumale, Ado, local government, Benue State, for the second wake keep. Saturday, 19th August, open air church service at 10 a.m. Interment follows at 1 p.m. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Atta Emmanuel Atta, for the family. Announcer.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Nationwide. Now, the 50 Osun State University medical students on state scholarship to Ukraine are back in the state with a pledge to leave their imprints on the medical practice in the country. Their first port of call on arrival is the State House at Okefia in Osogbo, where they were received by Governor Rauf Aregbesola. Correspondent Adeni Taiwo brings us details.
It's been 4.5 years of academic sojourn at the VN Karazin Kharkiv National University of Ukraine, and now 50 of the 85 medical students of Osun State University are back home to heroes welcome. Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola, who received them at the Government House, Okefia Osogbo, is not one to miss out on the fun of the reunion and backslapping as he engaged the returning students in a dance. The students are back in the country after a successful completion of study in various medical fields, which saw one of them, Latifa Oyeleye, emerging overall best student of class 2017 in medicine, entire Eastern European country.
It's unlike in Nigeria where it's majorly medicine and medicine, but in Ukraine you can be a doctor, you can be a medical student and still have time to do some other things.
We are coming down here to Nigeria and Osun State to give back to the people. We can partner with universities outside of the country. So,
beaming with smiles and pride, Governor Aregbesola said the state was now set to benefit from a hard decision taken by his government to fund the medical study of 85 students in Ukraine.
It will be eternal if you keep up with those extraordinary actions that made you icons in Kharkov. Thank you. For sure.
In Osogbo, Adeni Taiwo, NTA.
Congratulations to the medical students there. And the University of Nigeria yet to join ASU strike, just as Best Y candidate smiles home with scholarship. Chegonu takes us through these and more from the coal city, Enugu.
Good afternoon, Elizabeth, and welcome to the Coal City. The Southeast governors have resolved to partner with an indigenous private power company, Geometric Power, to tackle the challenge of inadequate power supply in the zone. They took the decision after a meeting at the Government House, Enugu. Ijoma Ugweke reports that the communique was read by the chairman of the forum, Chief David Umahi.
The governors proposed to build 5 mega industrial clusters, 1 in each of the 5 states, to ensure regional economic integration. Chief Umahi said they have identified a lot of gas clusters in the southeast and has directed the economic team to commence discussion with persons involved. He said the President General of Ohaneze Ndibu has also briefed them on the outcome of their meeting concerning the position of the Southeasterners in other parts of the state.
We want to assure all our people that are living in northern Nigeria that we are in constant touch and dialogue with the federal government. And of course, we've liaised with them and the Northern Governors Forum, and we commend them in their position to make sure that the lives and properties of our people are fully secured.
The forum also swore in Professor Simon Otuanya from Enugu State as the Director General of Southeast Governors Forum, while 4 others were appointed to work in the Secretariat. The governors condoled the government and the people of Anambra State on the killings at St. Philip's Church, Ozubulu, in Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
The University of Nigeria Enugu campus is not part of the ongoing nationwide strike declared yesterday by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. James Operekocha, who went to ascertain the situation on campus, reports that the non-academic staff union this Monday, however, declared an internal indefinite strike in all campuses of the university.
Of Nigerian Soccer Academic Staff Union of Universities, about a year ago, had problems with the non-national body of ASU and were subsequently suspended. This led to the ASU chapter of UNN not being part of the ASU nationwide strike, which kicked off yesterday. Though coincidentally, the university is on vacation following the conclusion of their exams last week. However, the non-academic staff union yesterday at the main campus in Soka embarked on an industrial action. According to the Enugu campus chairman, Comrade Carlo Agu, they had given the university management a 21-day notice with a reminder.
Action Committee of the Trade Unions of the University of Nigeria for Enugu and the Soka campuses, which comprises of SANO, NASO, and NAT, has embarked on an indefinite strike.
The agitation, according to their letter to the Vice Chancellor, include non-payment of the balance of 15% June salaries and allowances, non-implementation of the 2009 Federal Government Union Agreement, and allowances to senior and junior staff.
As we stepped into the campus this morning, we met the non-academic staff just coming out from a meeting declaring an internal strike in the university today. What an irony, you might think.
From the University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, James Oparikocha, NTA News.
Enugu State government has offered a university scholarship in any Nigerian university to the best graduating student of a private school in Nsukka, Miss Cynthia Chinecherem Ale, who scored A1 in all the 9 subjects she sat for in the last West African Examination Council WAEC exam. Ijoma Gweke again tells us more.
Government also resolved to present the student with a certificate of honor in further recognition of her outstanding academic performance. Governor Ugwuanyi announced the scholarship after the student was presented before members of the State Executive Council. He said the scholarship is to motivate and encourage others to work hard and remain committed to the pursuit of academic excellence. Your Excellency, at such a crucial time and trying time as we are in, she excelled beyond the imaginable. She got all A's in science subjects. Miss Cynthia, an 18-year-old indigene of Enugu State, has one of the best WAEC results in the state, Southeast, and the country, and had applied to read medicine and surgery in the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Ahead of the forthcoming governorship election in Anambra State, INEC says they have perfected plans to conduct a hitch-free election come November 18. Ngozi Okafor reports that the electorate were also briefed on their roles at a meeting held for them with the theme, voter registration at ward level.
Says the second phase, which begins from the 10th to 15th of August, will be the last before the November 18th governorship election. Resident Electoral Commissioner, who noted that the meeting is to enable INEC to interact and present their program.
If anybody requests for gratification from you, please don't give them. Report to us. Don't induce our staff.
With topics on modalities for continuous voter registration and technical innovations in INEC, the Commission reeled out all they have devised and steps taken to have an improved electoral process.
The administration is supposed to attend to 4 issues: fresh registration,
collection of permanent voters card for those who are not able to collect. We are deploying a new direct data capture machine.
Issues bordering on funding, security, welfare, management of equipment failure, and multiple candidacy raised during the interactive session were addressed. Governor Willie Obiano, who had earlier declared the event open, was represented by Deputy Governor.
I think this is timely. My prayer is that the people who have just registered, that they will get their permanent voters card on time.
Participants were drawn from political parties, civil society groups, security agencies, women groups, Inoka, Ngozi Okafo, NTA News.
Well, that's it from the Coast City, Elizabeth. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Chair Gonu. Reports just reaching us says the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, is at this time in a meeting with Striking Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The minister is reminding the union that there was ongoing renegotiation of the 2009 agreement between the federal government and ASU by the Babalakin Committee, which the federal government set up on Monday, 13 February 2017, and is already addressing the issues raised by ASU. He urged the union to suspend ongoing strike in the interest of the nation. And normalcy has returned to Wuse Market after the breakdown of law and order earlier in the day. Let's now join Muhammad Ali, who is standing by with an insight into the situation. Over to you, Muhammad.
Thank you very much, studio. The Wuse Market is under lock and key, as you can see behind, with heavy security presence, and everybody has been ordered out of the market. There was a breakdown of law and order here at the market at about 11 in the morning, which resulted to clash of interest between a group that came to protest and there are some of the traders here in the market, and the security agencies have to come in, as we learned, to disperse everybody and cordon off all the roads leading to the market. But within some few hours, the market is still under lock, but the roads leading to the market has been open, and as you can see, there are traders here that are waiting outside to see whether the market is going to be open any moment from now. But then we've spoken to the management of the market as well as leaders of the traders union, who expressed some opinion concerning what has happened here today.
It would be a better decision in the interest of the general public and even the traders themselves than to keep a market closed when there's fracas, because the loss of life and property is not in the interest of anybody, and then to keep the market protected, they have to be closed down. You cannot manage a crowd in a marketplace because they don't have identity. You can identify who comes in and out of the market, and therefore you have to keep it short and make sure that everybody's kept at arm's length from the market.
Basically, this is a security issue, and once we have the green light from the security agencies that is all clear, we open the markets. Yeah.
In the meantime, nerves have come down and normalcy has returned to Wuse Market, as you can see with the flurry of activities going on around here. That's the situation here from Wuse Market. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Muhammad Ali, for the update on the Wuse markets there. Now, Sokoto, the seat of the Caliphate, is where we go next, and enhancing peaceful coexistence and health matters are the latest developments from that zone with Sadia.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Welcome to Seat of the Caliphate. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar III has called for continuous synergy and strengthening of brotherhood between Sokoto Sultanate Council and the Sultanate of Mewurno in Sudan. The Sultan made the call when he received on courtesy visit the Sultan of Mewurno Alhaji Aliyu Ahmad Tahir at his palace. Sheikh Muhammad Detti completes the report.
Sultan Saad Abubakar III said, as descendants of Sheikh Usman ibn Fodio, cementing the relationship between the two Sultanate councils remain paramount. Appreciating the visit by his brother, the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, called on the people of Sudan to support and cooperate with the Sultan. He, however, used the forum and condoled with the Sultan of Mewurno and people of Sudan about the death of the incumbent Sultan's father, who died recently. Sultan of Mewurno, Alhaji Aliyu Ahmad Tahir, informed Sultan Saad that he is in Sokoto to pay homage to him as a brother. He expressed joy at coming home and the warm reception accorded him and his entourage. He prayed Allah to protect and guide the Sultan, informing him that he will make visitations to all the tombs of late ancestors of the Caliphate. Sultan of Mewurno was in company of his councillors at the palace. In Sokoto, Shehu Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Addressing the emerging challenges associated with zoonotic diseases require political will and commitment from other stakeholders in Nigeria. This was the position of stakeholders who converged on Birnin Kebbi to discuss the methods of identification, management and control of the diseases. Nuraton Kwokili has more.
Zoonotic diseases are diseases or infections that are naturally transmitted between animals and human beings. Charting a formidable course for the management and control of these diseases is therefore of paramount importance to Kebbi State, being the second largest livestock producer in Nigeria. The Kebbi State Commissioner of Animal Health, Husbandry and Fisheries, Alhaji Adamu Ibrahim Ngaski, who declared the workshop open, said the present administration in the state places priority on livestock production, hence the proactive measures adopted to ensure sanity in the sector. The commissioner therefore said the workshop is timely, looking at the attendant consequences of such diseases to humans as well. In a keynote address, the Dean Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, Usmanu Danfodi University, Sokoto, Professor Abdullahi Magaji said, containing zoonosis requires combined efforts and collaboration between veterinarians, physicians, and public health professionals. He advocated for continued education as the diseases has negative consequences not only on health, but economy and international relations. Other veterinary health practitioners lauded the efforts of Kebbi State government in taking the bold steps, appealing for a better operational environment for the campaign to succeed. The extensive outbreaks associated with high contagiosity and death rate made the zoonotic diseases a serious public health concern in Nigeria. In Birnin Kebbi, Nuratan Kwakili, NTA News.
Obiageli Ugoke brings us developments across the globe.
You're welcome to this segment of the news. The desperate dig for survivors has resumed in the nation's capital after mudslides and floods claimed the lives of more than 300 people. Reports indicate that homes were engulfed while still in bed after part of Sugarloaf Mountain collapsed following heavy rain early Monday. And gunmen have attacked a United Nations peacekeeping base in northern Mali, killing about 9 people. The Malian military said 5 of those who died were Malian security guards and 4 of the gunmen have been killed. Moving on, the wife of Zimbabwe's president handed herself over to police in South Africa Tuesday after being accused of assaulting a young woman at an upscale hotel in Johannesburg. Minister of Police said Grace Mugabe is due to appear in court, but she argued she is not under arrest because she cooperated with the police. And local reports say North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has reviewed plans to fire missiles towards the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam. Although prepared for the enveloping fire at Guam, the North said it would watch what the U.S. would do before taking a decision. This latest report points to a pause in the increasingly bitter war of words. And that does it from this end. The news continues.
Talking sports now, Nigeria's D Tigress set to depart Wednesday for Bamako, Mali, as Team Kalotari outplayed Team Optiweb in the NCC Tennis League in Ilorin, Kwara State. Ayodeji Makinde brings us details on Sports Update.